Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today I'm going to talk about something that I wanted to talk about like 2 weeks ago now, but I was ill. So, computer games. I love them. Great. Warhammer. Love-hate relationship, but in general, I love it. However, they are combining the two. This is basically my fetish. Now, I wish I had spoken about this 2 weeks ago, because then it's fresh news, and fresh news gets like triple the views that any of my other videos do, so I missed out. But anyway, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of everything I've managed to kind of find out about the publisher and the individual game studios. So, Focus Home Interactive are a publisher of computer games. Publishers, for those that don't know, are people like EA, Sega, Sony, Capcom, Nintendo. These are the people that basically give companies money to produce games for them. Simple. Some publishers are good. Some publishers are bad. You'll probably have heard EA, even if you don't know the game industry at all, but you have a vague passing knowledge of it, EA is generally considered a terrible publisher. What makes them a bad publisher? Well, that's generally their business model. They will typically be blamed for getting games out before they are ready. That's very dubious. I think that's a cop-out. However, let's assume it's true. But more importantly than that, and more concretely, they are very, very on the business model, which with EA specifically, and this is why they're considered bad, is they like to do microtransactions to a very, very extreme degree. For example, there was a game called Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was literally broken on release because of the way that they monetized it. It was, I believe, that somebody did the maths, and you had to play the game for like 4,000 hours to unlock every possible unlock in the game without paying money. That is broken. That is a broken game. Even though it is technically possible to never pay extra money. You're already paying full price for the game, by the way. Gotta put that in there. You're already paying, £60 or whatever, plus microtransactions on top. Crazy. So, Focus Home Interactive, what do we think of them? Well, actually, they're pretty reasonable, as these things go. They haven't really done anything to shake up the angry gamers. They're a publisher. Yeah. There you go. This could be the year that they turn around and say, I like what EA's doing. Let's go crazy with the in-app purchases and all that stuff. In which case, we're going to have big issues. But to date, they haven't done anything particularly egregious. So, all in all, I'm pretty happy with Focus being the publisher. No issues. But let's dive into the actual games themselves. Now, we don't know too much. Let's just get that out of the way first. Hopefully, on the screen somewhere, I have just put up a little graphic. And that graphic is all that we know. That is all the information we have, basically. Let's look at the first one first, because it's the first one. Because first. So it's being made. Oh, okay, so no, sorry, first. There's a little bit of an implication that 2 of these games are going to be released this year. And then there's a little bit of an implication that one of the games is in development for future release. Again, this is all speculation. I'm just reading the press release. Basically, the way they phrased it, it implies that 2 of the games are in their 2019 calendar, release calendar, whereas one of the partnerships with a new company is in their 2019 calendar. So, you see, there's a minor difference in terminology there. Anyway, let's read the first one. So it's by Saber Interactive. For those of you that aren't crazy about games, aren't super into them, Saber Interactive have just released a game called World War Z, or, if you're American, Z. Now, this is quite an interesting thing, because if I had done this talk when the news actually released, we wouldn't have had this data. However, World War Z has come out pretty good, by all accounts. Yeah. So that's actually remarkably reassuring. Not only has it sold well, it's gotten generally positive reviews. For those of you that don't know, World War Z is it's a zombie game. It's a zombie game. You're a human, you have a gun, crazy amounts of zombies get thrown at you, you kill them. Cool. So it's a shooter. However, Saber Interactive have also done a car game, which is more of a simulation game than a racer. And that's it. That's kind of it, really. They've also been involved in a lot of other PC games, but they haven't done any sort of gameplay. For example, they had a hand in The Witcher 3, which sounds really impressive. Until you find out that actually their hand was porting it to 4K for the PS4 and the Xbox 360. They didn't do anything involving gameplay. It was purely a technical thing. For example, they did similar things with multiple different Halos and Quake and a bunch of other stuff. They also have a mobile games category on their website, which actually I wouldn't be too worried about because every games company does now. So I wouldn't necessarily expect that they're going to be crazy and release this game with the 40k IP as a mobile game. I think we're safe. So aside from those background checks I've done for you, the only thing we know about this game is what it says on the poster. 3 words. 3 words. Now we know that these words do, in some manner, relate to the gameplay. Because in the other releases for other non-Games Workshop titles, it actually says relevant things. But not for ours. So we guess. Okay. The 3 words are protect, redeem, purge. What could that mean? So, pure speculation. First off, I'm going to guess it's an FPS. I'm just going to guess it. Protect, redeem, purge. I'm just going to say it. That sounds a little bit single player to me. Don't know, just got a vibe. Just got a vibe. With those words, I feel single player. However, with that said, what would probably be much, much easier for Saber Interactive is to basically do a reskin of World War Z. So, we may end up with some sort of World War Z type game reskinned for 40k. So, instead of zombies, we have Chaos Cultists. Or Termagants, Hormagants. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. This is all pure guess. I don't know. In case you're wondering, natural light today, hence why my camera's doing weird stuff. I can't do anything. Anyway, I do think it's going to be an FPS. Mainly because the poster is a guy. If it was going to be something else, if it was going to be a driving game or a ship game, they'd probably have a Rhino or a Valkyrie or something. Next up, we have Stremon Studio or Streamon Studio. I'm not sure. They're French. Hard to say. Stremon. Right, for those unaware, these are the same guys that did the Space Hulk Deathwing video games. Now, I don't know if you've played them, but they looked really good. Like, top-notch quality, I felt. They are technically an indie studio, though, so expect something a touch smaller in scale, perhaps. But we know that they have the graphical fidelity, so that's good. That's good. I would say, though, and this is purely personal preference, but all of this is personal because we have no real information, is that I didn't much care for the gameplay in Space Hulk Deathwing. It was a little bit slow. Now, Space Hulks, Terminators. It would be weird if it wasn't slow, right? Yes. Yes, right. But it didn't speak to me. No, I don't think that's really indicative of Stremon as a company. I think we'll be fine. I think they're going to do okay. I'm generally impressed with their work. For those of you that don't know them equally, they did something called I, Divine Cybermancy, which was a game ages ago done on the Source engine, the same engine as Half-Life 2, where it was kind of an RPG shooter. It was very quirky, a little bit buggy, but it was generally well regarded, though. Generally well regarded. And if you get something No, basically what I'm saying is they're good. They have released 2 big games, big for indies, and they've both attracted a certain crowd. But that's all we know. That's all we know. Stremmen Studio giving us a shooter. Okay. Oh, yes, so it does specify shooter, which is good. I want a shooter. However, we're going to have to look at the words again, the 3 words on the poster. This is all we have to go on. Descend, assassinate, collect. Now, I read this fan theory on Reddit. This one isn't mine, but I'm terrified, so I'm going to pass it on to you. Descend, assassinate, collect. Sounds like a Battle Royale title, doesn't it? Descending, that is how all Battle Royales start. Assassinating, oh, well, that's just games, so that's fair. Collect. And again, in Battle Royales, obviously, you run around collecting your gear, equipment, so that you can kill people. For those of you unaware, the Battle Royale genre was popularised by PUBG, which kind of proved that a development studio can subsist solely on a Battle Royale game. It was then shot into the stratosphere by Fortnite. Even if you know nothing about games, you know Fortnite. It's cancer. It's terrible. I'm kidding. I don't like it. But actually, if you look at it from a purely objective standpoint, it's actually a really good game. They took a formula, they put in a gameplay loop, they had an awesome art style, people really connected with it. I don't like it, but great game. And then it's kind of gone on to Apex Legends, which was the next big contender that could really go head-to-head with Fortnite, and it did. It did go head-to-head Fortnite. This is relevant. Hang in there. It basically dethroned Fortnite for about a month. Everybody started playing Apex Legends instead of Fortnite, and everybody said, "Oh, we've defeated Fortnite. Yeah, woo." That's no longer the case. I believe Apex Legends is now on the downslope, whereas because Fortnite had such an entrenchment of gamers, specifically young gamers, it's still there. It's still making a hell of a lot of money, just because people have nothing to do with their lives, and so go back to the games that they, subsist on, whether they like it or not, basically. And that's great. That's fine. However, if you're going to look at long-term sustainability for a game, if they are making a 40k Battle Royale, instant thought, I don't really like Battle Royales, fine, but it's 40k, I'll play that. They could do some really interesting things. Nobody else is going to play it, though. It's just going to be me and you and people that like 40k. There's not going to be other players because they're playing Fortnite. Therefore, if Stremmen Studio is actually going to release, Descend, Assassinate, Collect as a Battle Royale game, I declare it dead on arrival. Terrible idea. You're about 2 years too late to make this game have any impact. They are relying solely on Warhammer players. That's a bad business model. Warhammer players guarantee initial sales. They do not guarantee long-term success, as proven by the game Eternal Crusade. That's the one. Which, again, had a small fan base of very hardcore Warhammer lovers that got in there because they loved Warhammer, but then they let them down with the gameplay, etc., other reasons, and the game is now dead. Finally, we have the third game. Now, this is the game that there's an implication where it's not going to release this year. Tracking down the development company, Gasket Games, is that right? Yes, Gasket Games. I think it's pretty clear that it's not going to release this year because their website, so they are a company that has been formed of other companies. No, I phrased that wrong. They are a company that has been formed of ex-employees from other companies. They're not a conglomerate, they're not an amalgamation. Other companies fired people. These guys formed from those remnants. Now, a great pedigree. Dawn of War, Company of Heroes, Homeworld, that's one hell of a pedigree. That's really good. However, the website itself, they're a new company. They haven't released any games yet. That's concerning. That is a concern for everyone. I think we can all agree. However, they obviously have the potential, which is great. but are they going to be able to follow through? Even though they have the experience, you see this a lot. New ex-employees creating new studios with a grand vision, hoping they can really pull together the team for their first big release, but then it tanks. You hear that a lot. We don't know. However, I would say, in their favour, they're starting off with an IP-based game, Warhammer, specifically Age of Sigmar. That's a really smart move. For a first title, for a new company, I think that's a really good idea, especially with an IP as strong as Warhammer. Like I said for the previous one with Stremon Games, you're basically guaranteeing initial sales and interest. That is exactly what a company needs. This is really good. Promising so far, promising. Now, the only other piece of information we know is that this is 100% going to be a strategy game, which of course makes sense considering the pedigree of the company. Again, Dawn of War, Company of Heroes, etc. Good. Good. This excites me. So, let's go over the 3 words before we say any more. Rise, invade, conquer. Does that tell us anything? That sounds super generic. Rise, well, you have to build your base in all strategy games. Fine. Invade, yeah, you do that. Conquer. That's kind of the same as invading. That's kind of just saying don't lose. So that's not really telling us anything. But fine, to be honest, if my read of the press release is correct, it's too early to know what the gameplay is actually going to be. At this point, what it's actually going to be is realistically 2 years away. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. But actually, it's more likely to be 2 to 4 years away. That's the kind of rough cycle, build cycle of a computer game these days. Now, let's have a little think about what the Age of Sigmar IP, universe is the word, universe, could bring to a strategy game. You've kind of got 3 options when it comes to strategy games. You've got StarCraft, which is you build a base, you will then control anywhere between kind of 20 and 100 units, and you will then attack the enemy base, which is roughly a 30-second to 1-minute walk away. I'd kind of call that the StarCraft theme. Then you've got the Company of Heroes style, where you don't really build a base. You are given a base, you then have to go and capture resource points, which slowly give you resources, and then from the base you already have built, or kind of just reserves. You just get given units randomly from nowhere. So this is less of a base builder, and more of a point capturer, I suppose. And of course, the reason I bring this up is because the pedigree of this company is indeed Company of Heroes, which is exactly that. And then we have the third type, which is a little bit more, I'm going to say Warcraft 3. I think Warcraft 3 definitely popularised this. So this is kind of a mixture of StarCraft, where you build a base, you manage that fully, you have to mine resources, etc. However, you have a big focus on hero units. Now, for those of you that may remember, Dawn of War did this in Dawn of War 3 and 2. They had hero units. However, Dawn of War 3 was widely panned. Nobody liked it. I liked the single player. I thought it was fine. But outside of me, nobody liked it. Apparently the multiplayer sucked, I guess. Now, we know that as a concept, the Warcraft 3 model works. Okay? 100%. Because Warcraft 3 was amazing. They're even re-releasing Warcraft 3 in HD this year, so it works. Dawn of War proved to us that it's a really fine balance. If you tilt things too much one way, people aren't going to enjoy it. Now, I'll be honest, my personal take on Dawn of War 3 was it was fine. I just about managed to get through the single player campaign, but I had no desire to play it again or play any multiplayer. I would have preferred a stronger base building component. However, some people, for example, Dawn of War 2, didn't have base building effectively. It was just the hero units. And while that was very, very different to Dawn of War 1, which was all base building, no heroes effectively, it worked for some people. It's such a tough call with the Age of Sigmar universe. Honestly, they have such a wide range of armies and units that they can call upon, but at the same time, they have so many hero units that they could validly give, really powerful, overpowering abilities to. And that would be really fun to be, the Lord Ordinator who runs into the middle of a tide of greenskins and busts out his lamp. I think it's just a lamp. And wipes out the entire horde, and then, really good fun. But at the same time, actually, I'd quite like to just ignore that Lord Ordinator. He could be maybe a unit upgrade to a series of hammerers or whatever they're called. I don't know. But just, I quite like the StarCraft mechanic or type of gameplay with this. Focus on building a base, play that as fast or as slow as you like. Or, of course, if they can perfect the Warcraft 3 technique, that is actually my preference. That is a game that I loved back in the day. And if they can nail that again, I'd really enjoy it. Will they be able to? I hope they can. I really do. That would be an amazing game. Give it a strong single-player component with a strong story. Stick to the classics. We don't need anything complicated. Give us a hero rising up from the ashes story, farm boy taken to hero to king to emperor to conqueror to evil guy, and then we obviously swap to another campaign and then be able to then kill that hero that we just grew up with. Bog basics. We don't need anything complex. That would be awesome. Anyway, this has been Glass Half Dead, and I have enjoyed talking to you about something I am very excited for, the mixture of computer games and Warhammer, whether that be 40k or Sigmar or Old Universe. It's all good as far as I'm concerned. I'm very hopeful, and I really hope that these guys can actually deliver and give us something that isn't crap. Because let's be honest, my final word, skepticism is required at this point. Games Workshop does not have the best pedigree, the best back catalogue when it comes to games, computer games, especially when it comes to shooters. Like they should. It's such an easy IP. Just make a game that is okay and give it a 40k skin. It should be amazing. But I'm skeptical. But I'm hopeful. Anyway, as soon as we get any more information, and trust me, I will be keeping my eyes out on Focus Home Interactive, I will let you guys know. And hopefully, I will do a far more timely video that also won't be half an hour long. My God, this has been far too long. Glass Half Dead. Hope you've had a good day. Bye. Use words, and